Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
There he is. And people saying you're being just as tasteless as those at the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Shut up. Shut up. Ilhan Omar. You guys all saw this video last night. Now, here's the thing. There are a lot of conspiracy theories out there, people saying that this was staged. People jump to that. I am going to tell you exactly what it is that we know, and you can draw your own conclusions if you want to know my opinion. It seems like this is somebody who obviously didn't like Ilhan Omar. I wouldn't jump right away to this is staged. I also understand why people think that some of the events look questionable, but also understand in the heat of the moment when you're in kind of a pressure cooker, people react oddly.
Yeah.
I can't draw I can't tell you definitively, but I'll give you the facts that a lot of people are sort of withholding in the name of clickbait. We'll give you all the references as we do every single show. So Town Hall, professional brother marrier Ilhan Omar, she was sprayed with an unknown substance by a man who was not a fan at the event. Here you go. There were two primary angles, and then it kind of bleeds into one, so we decided to put them side by side here so you don't miss anything. Here's the incident in question.
Secretary Kristi Noem must resign or face impeachment.
There he is.
I don't know.
Perfume.
Oh my God, he sprayed something on her.
He needs some milk.
No, we will continue.
No. Ilhan, you need to go get checked.
No, we will continue. These fucking assholes are not going to get away with it.
Now, I should be clear. It has not been confirmed. I want to let you know what we can confirm, what we can't. It's not been confirmed, but investigators feel pretty strongly that they have identified the in question substance.
Some people did something.
That is.
And people saying you're being just as tasteless as those at the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Shut up. Shut up. Look.
No.
This man could have, and he shouldn't have done that,
Right.
just to be clear.
Yes.
Okay? This man could have killed her or harmed her. God forbid. And I truly mean that.
Yeah.
He walked up, and it's remarkably polite in the context of things like, you must resign.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually,
And he peeled off to the right, so like, hey, I'm not a threat anymore.
He pulled
I've sprayed
back
you with whatever
and he sprayed her with something. And, we don't necessarily know what it is. It could be.
Hopefully nothing.
Yeah, hopefully nothing. Hopefully nothing
grease
damaging.
Mixed
But
with something, I don't know.
let's not compare the two.
Right.
You guys get that there's a difference, right? By the way, tune in weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's the best way to stand if you're watching this as a clip. Following the attack, Omar, well, she was, like you think that iconic Donald Trump fight. She too delivered an inspiring response.
Representative Omar, are you okay?
I'm gonna go figure if I am, but I feel okay. I feel that it is important for people, whether they are in elected office or not, to allow these people to intimidate us, to make us not fight for our constituents and for the country we love.
Somalia.
And as I said, I've survived war, and I'm definitely
started
going
by
to
who?
survive intimidation and whatever these people think they can throw at me, because I'm built that way.
Size 0.
Yeah. Built what way?
The office also released a statement. The Congresswoman is okay. She continued with her town hall because she doesn't let bullies win. I'm reading it in her voice because why not? So she doesn't let bullies win, except in the boudoir with her brother, namely. And I know we just can't let that one go. We can't let it go because it's a thing. Here's what we actually know.
Because it's real.
Yeah. Here's what we actually know. And you guys will take your chats later and you can let us know if you think that this was staged. I'll get to the case as to why people may think it was staged. But I think that when you take all the information, right, in totality, you go, okay, this seems pretty cut and dry. And a lot of people out there, and this is a problem, both on the left and the right, misinformation on both sides. We don't want to do that. And we encourage you to go check out the references. So the suspect in question has been identified. Anthony James Kazmierczak. commonly referred to as Fat Gerard Butler, is... It's got to be biblical. Yeah.
Dude, it's uncanny.
Still
he looks more like Gerard Butler in the actual photo of the guy, the bad guy.
Yeah, I guess he does. But Gerard Butler, incapable of doing an American accent, just to be clear. But 55 years old, this guy, twice divorced, 2 kids, unemployed, on disability. Now, the reason that's relevant is because a lot of people brought up, and it is relevant, Renee Good, right? Didn't have custody of her children, I believe 2 divorces.
Right.
That doesn't mean that this person is guilty, and it certainly doesn't justify what they've done. No one is doing that here. But it is an indicator as to perhaps the stability or pattern of behavior. We don't know what the liquid was, though, like I said, strongly suspected. This person was charged with 3rd-degree assault, held without bail, faces up to 5 years prison time, whereas attempted murderers in the state of New York get to go free quite often.
Right.
He does have a limited prior criminal history, 2 DUI convictions, no violent crimes. You could argue that this one is definitely assault, but as far as what you think of as classically violent, I also want to say, I do get that this can be pretty scary, like whether it's someone who is throwing a milkshake. Well, sometimes those are replaced with concrete, or it could be acid, right? Ilhan Omar is familiar with that, right? That's something that Islamists do quite a bit. They'll throw acid in your face so that you're disfigured forever. So I have no doubt that she was probably quite scared.
Yeah.
The comparison, though, to the type of violence and vitriol that the right experiences, I just don't think it's a valid one. The neighbors said about this man that he was pretty heavily medicated for years because he had a spine injury. He was apparently diagnosed with Parkinson's. And this guy, again, surprisingly polite, and you must resign, right?
Yeah.
Also asked his neighbor to watch his dog because he seemed to know that something would go down. So at least, he cares about the dog. Didn't have the dog at the town hall like Renee Good in the car with the screaming and the disrupting.
The stuffies.
Yeah. He said, I'm going to this Omar thing. I might get arrested.
I might get arrested means that he's like, I don't know how violent this is.
Yeah.
But I'm going to squirt some Diet Coke on her.
Yes, that sounds to me like he wasn't planning on being any more violent than you thought.
He didn't even curse.
No, he didn't.
Which is it's an accomplishment.
He didn't even hit her in the face.
It's a heated moment
with the thing. He was like,
that's bad.
Resign. And then he was like, well, of course, never aim in the face. That's the rules. And he just...
bad aim, I think. But right. He still had some left, by the way. If you look at the little syringe he has, he didn't even squirt it all out. What a failure.
He started... No, I think maybe he started... He was like, I think I've made my point. And...
I think it was the Parkinson's.
Could be.
He was like kind of shaking when he got up.
Could be. That could be why you thought it was Diet Coke. It was fizzy because it was shaking.
Yeah. Well,
could be nerves shake.
Throw a little Mentos and Diet Coke into somebody. Boom. Parkinson's.
Could be a nerves shake or could be a Parkinson's shake. You comment below. Do you believe it was a nerves shake or Parkinson's shake?
I think he was drinking at Dr. Parkinson's.
Was his motivation, and again, the references are available, was it political? Outlets have at this point reported that his social media leaned right. The neighbors claimed that he leaned conservative, didn't like Omar, but that encompasses a lot of people. Mm-hmm. There are pictures circulating. We have not been able to confirm it at this point that his kids may be trans leftists. So if that's the case, I mean, that is definitely something that will drive a lot of men, I don't even want to say mad, but just hopeless. I mean, you saw that with Elon Musk. You can be the wealthiest, most powerful person on earth. And if your kids have been radicalized by these institutions out there, you feel like it's a death that you never get to mourn.
Yeah.
And this is why I also cannot recommend enough that you homeschool your children, that you guard their hearts from what they consume. Because if that is true, doesn't justify what he did, but that is absolutely heartbreaking. The case that I'm hearing as to why this is staged, again, I think it's paper thin. People saying, why didn't Omar immediately seek medical attention? She continued her speech after the attack. I mean, sure, I guess. But, if you're not hurt, if it's a substance that's on you at that point in time, and I've done that too, where I've had people throw stuff on me. Sometimes you don't think of it in the moment. People saying that she went toward the assailant, which does seem odd. It's atypical, but again, you don't necessarily know how you're reacting. I also noticed she only went toward him after security had been taking care of him. People are saying that she looked right up at him. If you look at the tape right before the attack, he could have been twitching, could have been, again, a Parkinson's shake.
He was a suspicious looking fella.
For sure, yeah.
I got to say, when he got up, I'm like, oh, no one stopped him at the door?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, that's the guy? You let him walk up to the front row?
Well, that's also, to me, what is a couple of things that are most telling here. that tells you that the left doesn't live in the same fear that the right does. Because you don't get that close to people on the right, especially not post-Charlie Kirk. But the pat-downs, the wanding, the security that we have to put people through at any live event, the fact that she is there with what appears to be medium-level security, and a guy who couldn't look more suspicious if he was drenched in hobo piss.
Yeah.
Like
Which might be
and he's front row.
Yeah.
Yeah, front row, right there.
Yeah, front row.
Yeah, I would be looking up at him too. I'd be like, what's that guy doing? All right.
So I'm not convinced that this is staged, and I'm certainly not going to make that claim as though it's a fact.
Yeah,
and I
because
see people
plenty
doing
of
it.
If it
other
was
people,
staged, it would be worse than that.
Right.
I don't think it would be like, bleeding, or it would have been worse than a syringe with some liquid in it. They would have, honestly, they got to be smarter than that, right?
Right. Yeah, and I will say I have had this happen with me where people have said, "Oh, that's staged."
Yeah.
When I've been, punched in the face, when I've been assaulted very violently in public. So I know that people want to go to that, and this is not me saying, "Hey guys, both sides." I'm just saying, let's be truthful. I'm just saying, let's apply. I'm not saying we need to find common ground with the left or extend sympathy or empathy when that's not appropriate. I think in this case, we don't want representatives to be, we certainly don't want them to be assassinated. We certainly don't want them to be assaulted. Jailed, yeah. Certainly brought up on charges for fraud, which we'll get to, yeah. But I'm asking you to apply your filter consistently to the left and the right. Not saying that you need to find common ground based on a lie or present yourself as a moderate. So it's very clear the left doesn't live under. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say I think it's a huge misstep too by those on the right now. There are plenty of prominent people on the right saying, "Oh, this looks absolutely staged and fake." Now you give the left something to go after. Just say, "Oh man, I really hope we shouldn't be doing any of that." By the way, she's still a piece of crap. Don't take your eyes off the ball, guys.
Right.
Don't take your eyes off the fraud and what's going on in the state of Minnesota right now and around Minneapolis. Don't take your eye off the ball. She's a piece of crap, but that stuff shouldn't happen, right? Let's move on.
Right.
Now it's just going to devolve into, well, they're denying that. Just like they said Alex Peretti, whatever his name, he was there to kill people.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Just be clear, be consistent in your communication, and don't present yourself as a moderate. If you're not, I'm not a moderate. The left has labeled me far right wing. Okay, I'm fine with it. It's pretty much basic bitch conservative. If you were to go throughout history, I'm certainly more nationalist than most conservatives have presented themselves in the past, but I've always been that way. Fine. I'm right wing. I'm not a moderate. Let's get to Ilhan Omar, though. This is always a good opportunity to highlight that she is a walking fraud, where it's hard to even identify the human components left. It's pretty much just fraud. So since 2024, she's been under investigation by the DOJ and Congress for financial and overall just campaign sort of spending irregularities.
Since 24?
Yeah, under official investigation.
That's under a Democratic DOJ.
Yes.
I think that's very important to mention that date.
Yep.
Because they're saying it. They're saying that it's a witch hunt.
Yeah.
And it's a revenge hunt or whatever. Okay.
And this is not even, I'm not getting into all the fraud that she's overseen.
Right.
In her state.
It's different fraud, personal fraud.
Right. It's different fraud. Now, her assets reported to Congress have, of course, increased rapidly. Now, it could be completely legitimate, or there's a reason that it seems suspicious. So in 2023, assets numbered anywhere from 40 to 250,000. 1 year later, 2024, 6 million to 30 million.
That's a big range.
Yeah.
Honestly.
6 million to 30 million.
How much money do you have? Somewhere between 6 million.
Yeah. And the argument from the fact checkers was like, well, that's actually her husband's because a venture capital management firm and a winery. You go,
Winery.
So 1 year, a winery, your investment has grown by 6,500 to 10,000%. That's the growth of the wine business, which this is something we can verify. It brings me to Gerald knows wine.
Gerald!
All right.
That's a wine that tastes like corks.
Yes. That's
if you're wondering, it's a cork wine.
When you smell it.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so Gerald, I'm going to ask you, I want to be really clear for people, because you've worked in the wine industry for a long time.
Yes, I have.
So I want to ask you, is it typical for a winery to grow 6,500 to 10,000% in a year?
No.
Sorry, allow me to rephrase the question. I'll treat you like ChatGPT. I'll give you a different prompt.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Has there ever been a winery in the history of mankind that you know of that has increased by 6,000 to 10,000% in one fiscal year?
No.
Okay.
Never in the history of wine has that happened.
Okay.
What about when Jesus turned water to wine?
He didn't sell it. He gave it away for free. And it was a lot of wine, by the way, like 30 cases.
Yeah.
He knew how to party.
So 6,500 to 10,000% growth year over year. is not only not typical, it's not only atypical, it's never happened in the history of the wine industry.
No.
Okay, so your guess is as good as mine. This has been Gerald Knows Wine. And believe it or not, we actually do have a reference to prove to you that 10,000% growth in a single fiscal year is not typical.
Well,
just to let you, so you guys can go check.
Must be a really good wine company.
Yes.
Must be like the best wine company.
It is, or there could be some similarities in the winery and, the questions that sort of surround Omar's involvement in the Minnesota Somali welfare scandal. Or there could be some similarities in that, maybe it's not exactly straightforward, or she's at best being misleading in a way that compares to her marrying her brother. There's a certificate. It happened. By the way, don't circulate this as though it's new. This always happens. Yeah. We've been bringing this up for well over half a decade. And it has not been refuted to the degree that it needs to be. So, a 10,000% growth year over year. The welfare scandal, a lot of scandals, a lot of fraud that has taken place in her state. Not to mention, she has effectively pledged loyalty to Somalia before the United States. Married her brother, which is both gross and a crime. But my question to you is, what do you think here? Do you think this is a maladjusted person who snapped? Or do you think it's a staged scene from Omar and her team? And let me ask you, if you think it's staged, can you make the case as to why? Make the factual case the same way we would make a case for anything else on this show. And if people believe it, you may have reason to believe it, but I also see a lot of folks out there misleading their audiences, just going, this is clearly staged. There's nothing clear about it, and you do need to substantiate that. The burden of proof is on people saying this is staged. That would be a pretty big, pretty elaborate conspiracy, so there needs to be more proof than she glanced. Hey, do you like what you saw? I don't know how, because it's on YouTube and we have to cut all the good parts out. So you should tune in live weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on Rumble. We can still speak freely and even use words like and get and whoa. You've been here this whole time?
Yeah. Snuck in.